Hello everyone and welcome to Travel Sticks, and specifically to our visit to Glengoyne Distillery in Glengoyne, Scotland. Now before we go on, please like, share and subscribe, it really does help us out. Now what we did specifically is a tour of the distillery along with a whiskey tasting, and the tour actually starts in this small side building which you can see very easily when you come in, and it contains some interesting items and facts about the distillery and its history. Now our guide, as you can see here, I have to admit I forgot her name, but she was amazing, very knowledgeable, knew the history in and out of the distillery and of whiskey in general. But as you can see on the video as well, is that inside the distillery no electronic devices were allowed, so by consequence also no cameras, which means I have no video nor pictures of the inside. That being said, if you want to know how whiskey is made and see some of the process, we refer to, for example, our Deanston Distillery video, in which we go through it because there we were allowed to film. But that being said, there are a few interesting things to know about the Glengoyne Distillery and its whiskey. So first is that they have been running continuously since 1833. Second is that they are unique in that they produce a highland single malt whiskey, but they mature it in the lowlands, and that's because the street that literally separates the distillery and the warehouse where the whiskey is matured is called the Highland line, which is the separation between the highlands and the lowlands. Another interesting thing to know is that that they are also unique in a way that they are one of the few whiskies that do not use peat smoke to dry their barley. Instead they use warm air, and that is also reflected in their motto, and that is that they take everything slow and easy. And the last thing to know is that the water that is used to make the whiskey actually comes from the Glengoyne hill behind it and goes into a source spring that you can see here, which is then used in the distillery before it goes back into Loch Lomond. Now for the whiskey themselves, you can go to the back of the distillery and visit the shop, which has some crazy expensive whiskey in there if you want it. But for the tasting itself, it's also at the end of the distillery, and there we tasted quite a few whiskies. And I have to admit there wasn't a single one that I didn't like, but the one that probably stood out was the 15-year-old. That has a really nice, let's say, round flavor in terms of it has a bit of a sort of a nuttiness, kind of almondy, marzipan, and kind of something sweet, walnuts, chocolate kind of flavor. Whilst all at the same time not being overbearing. So definitely try that one out. And if you're there and you want to get to the shop, here's a quick run through of how to get to the shop. And if I may make another suggestion, we bought a bottle of Glengoyne 18 there, and actually that one was even better than the 15. We still have it at home. It has a really round flavor, it's not too harsh, and at the same time it's really let's say sweet, at the same time again somewhat nutty, and has this kind of like let's say fresh water kind of feel, but as I said, at the same time quite warm and sweet at the same time. So really a very enjoyable whiskey, so definitely try that one out. We hope you enjoyed the video and see you on the next one.